Look, I'm going to shirt front Mr. Putin. You bet you are. You bet I am. I am going to be saying to Mr. Putin, Australians were murdered. They were murdered by Russian-backed rebels using Russian-supplied equipment. We are very unhappy about this. We accept that you didn't want this to happen, but we now demand that you fully cooperate with the criminal investigation, and if the criminal investigation identifies suspects that you have some influence over, they've got to be produced and justice has got to be done.
The reconstruction demonstrates the effects of the impact and shows the marks where the cockpit was torn from the rest of the fuselage. The high-energy objects that perforated the aeroplane were also found in the bodies of 3 crew members seated in the cockpit. The preformed fragments have distinctive shapes, cubic and bow-tie shaped, and were made of a ferrous metal. Some fragments had traces of aluminium and glass on them, proving that they had perforated the aeroplane from the outside. The 2 left windows of the cockpit particularly show perforation by preformed fragments. Many traces of explosives were found on pieces of wreckage. Also, certain traces of paint were found that match paint on parts of a missile that were recovered from the crash site and missile fragments found in the cockpit and the left wing. The retrieved fragments and traces of paint point to a missile carrying a specific type of warhead and launched by a Buck surface-to-air missile system. During the investigation, a number of computer simulations were conducted. These support the surface-to-air missile scenario. The detonation of a 9N314M model warhead was simulated to calculate a point of detonation as well as the damage that could be expected. The warhead exploded on a location in space less than 1 cubic meter to the left of and above the cockpit, spraying its fragments in a characteristic radial circular pattern originating from the missile. These patterns match the damage found on the reconstructed forward section of the fuselage. Further proof of the detonation position was found in the last milliseconds of the cockpit voice recorder. This contained recordings of 3 crew microphones and an overhead microphone in the cockpit on separate channels. During the final milliseconds, these microphones recorded a sound peak. Based on the difference in timing of the recordings of the sound peak on these 4 microphones, a direction could be calculated.
Op basis van het strafrechtelijk onderzoek kan worden geconcludeerd dat vlucht MH17 op 17 juli 2014 is neergeschoten door een raket uit de 9M8338-serie. Afgevuurd door een Buck-Taylor. En dat deze Buck-Taylor afkomstig is van het grondgebied van de Russische Federatie en na lancering weer terug is gebracht naar het grondgebied van de Russische Federatie.
Я понял.
Грузили, своим ходом пригнали.
Смотри, ты ее не этот... Она своим ходом пришла или на трале?
Перешла через полоску.
Gelet op de grote hoeveelheid en de diversiteit van het overige bewijsmateriaal dat het JIT heeft verzameld, bestaat bij ons geen enkele twijfel over de juistheid van de conclusies die wij vandaag presenteren. En die conclusie is dat vlucht MH17 op 17 juli is neergehaald door een bukraket die afgevuurd is vanuit het landbouwveld Permo-Formaiske. En dat het systeem binnengebracht is vanuit de Russische Federatie en nadien daar weer naar terug is gebracht. Ik dank u voor uw aandacht en ik geef het woord aan de heer Westerbeek.
Голландской прокуратуры подтверждают то, что следствие предвзято и политически мотивировано. Самовольно назначать виновного, выдумывать желание...